Hi, and welcome to another edition of Get Your Fill, Financial Independence and Long Life, where we explore ways to achieve those two goals and we invite friends on to help us. And today you're going to be so psyched because I know that you're thinking of that, like ever since COVID started, all I wanted to do is travel. And we have today an entrepreneur who has more than 15 years of experience as an entrepreneur, and he's location independent. And if you don't know what that means, which I'm sure you do now, because a lot of us are location independent, but he has always loved traveling. And so he was always interested in investing. So he's kind of brought those two things together, and he's going to help us to not just plan for our future retirement goals, but to work travel into our daily life. His current business, Free Financial Self, helps people organize money to reach financial independence faster, which of course we all want. So basically he's a financial coach, but he's got that little travel bend, which I think we're going to find really fun. So Shlomo Freund, did I screw up your last name? Freund. Shlomo Freund. Oh my God. It was better before the recording started. Shlomo Freund.
Freund.
If I keep saying it, you won't be able to pronounce it either. All right, let's just leave it at that. Shlomo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much, Chris, for inviting. It's an honor, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm ready to go.
Let's start it off good.
Yes.
So a lot of us love to travel, and a lot of us have like jobs, and we think that the two are not going to be intersecting. So tell me like a little bit about your history. Like, did you always know like, oh, I can just always work from anywhere and make my life work, or did that sort of evolve?
Oh, good question. I always liked to travel. My family, so my mother used to be a travel agent, so it was always somewhere in the family, I'm going there. It used to be for the travel agent, there used to be trips called educationals, where the companies take the agents to see the places that are actually going to sell. So she went to all those trips, and my father joined, and my brother joined, and his wife joined. By the time I was old enough, the agency was already closed. Oh. I didn't get to do that.
That's not right.
That's not right. But I must say that as a child, I was still traveling a lot, definitely compared to a child of the 80s in Israel, where you almost never heard of people going abroad. But today, of course, it's very common. So I guess it's somewhere coming from there. And the financial side also started at a pretty young age. So the first section I read in the newspaper, which was the most interesting for me, was the financial section.
I just read the funnies. I guess that's not a good thing. Huh?
Go with the finances, and yeah, maybe you can travel more then. So I always read that first. I still read that first. So it's kind of it was really interesting for me. And I remember, my first memory as dealing with money and starting to trade. So I discovered that in the newspaper, you got the exchange rate between US dollars and Israeli shekels. And I went every day and checked that rate. And then I had those $2 that I had with my parents, or 3 shekels or whatever that is. And I had a note, and I had the number of the shekels or US dollars. And every day I looked at the newspaper, like, should I make the exchange today or not? And if I did, I had to let my mother know. And then I told her, of course, she didn't care less. So I just wrote the new number there. And some days I thought, maybe I should have done it. So I shouldn't have exchanged yesterday. So I just went back to her and say, I didn't exchange. Anyway.
If only we could do that in real life.
If only we could do that in real life. But most of the times I followed. I really followed. So this is how I found out you can make money from doing a currency exchange. There was less than, I can say, a few cents back then. But it was something. It was my first experience. So I guess these two little stories of finance and travel just bring those two things together. They were very early in
Interesting.
my life.
I've been trying to find a way to get my nephew interested in stock investing. And I think something like that could be kind of fun. Like, let's pretend, like, what if we sold it today? Where would we be? What if we sold it next week? Like, kind of think of a game. He's 14. And so, he's not interested really in much of anything.
But you can do that on demo accounts or paper accounts, whatever they call, depends on the country. And then you can just play with that. Just a few weeks ago, I made a whole workshop just showing people just the exact thing that they need to do, not talking about big things about stocks, not really explaining the whole market thing, just the simple thing, what numbers you should look at, where you press buy, where you press sell, where you see the orders, just putting these things, just the most simple things. And you can do those with those demo accounts. So
Yeah, maybe we can do that. Maybe I can get him psyched that way. I think a lot of us who have young people in our lives kind of struggle to get them excited about the things that we think that would be good for them to be excited about. I think you're frozen. Uh-oh. Come back.
hello.
Oh, you're back. Oh, good.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened. My side seemed to be okay.
Yeah, I just got a note that my connection is unstable. So I don't know what
Okay.
that's about.
Before we continue, do you want to, of course, take it out of the recording? Give me your WhatsApp number. It'll just be a faster communication if things like that happen.
Sure.
Or I'll send you yours. I'll send you mine.
Yeah.
I'll send you mine.
Okay. Well, anyway, there's a plus.
Anyway, there'll be a plus, yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. We have it.
Okay, good. So anyway, yeah, I was just saying that I think a lot of us who have young people in our lives struggle to get them excited about things like, the abstract stock market, things like that.
I have a 5-year-old and we already started, I don't know, I think a year and a half ago. She's almost 6 now. And it kind of, training her, talking about this, not about investing, but about what is money. And she has a save jar and a spend jar and a give jar. So you kind of learn what to do with those, and
Yep.
she gets her allowance. So I think it's really important to start as early as possible.
Yeah, I agree. So is that was it the influence of your parents that had you looking at the financial section, or were they sort of like reading the funnies and looking at you going, is he adopted or what?
You know what? Never thought of that this way. They're business owners. So I guess this is where it comes from. So it wasn't weird that we read the financial section. They weren't reading the funnies. I don't think there were funnies in Israel those years, to be completely honest. But assuming there were, no, it wasn't weird. It wasn't weird going with the finance.
So you had, what was your first sort of paying job? Were you already merging these two, or how did you start off your career?
As a teenager, I think I worked in my parents' office. That's what I did.
Yeah.
We had to go to different internet, so flight companies to Tel Aviv, and pay for whatever the clients, the tickets that they bought. And my father had insurance agency, so go to the insurance company and all that. So I did those things. I remember walking in Tel Aviv when I have do you remember this big block phones, mobile phones? Nobody had mobile phones. 15-year-old with a James Bond suitcase and a phone in there. Okay, I had all the papers and the phone in there, and people looking at you at the street, and of course it cost like $5 a minute to speak, but it helped with emergencies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was 14 or 15, So that was somewhere mid-90s,
Wow.
even
That was
before or early 90s. Yeah, very, very early. So, the whole business thing kind of goes with it, I guess. If I'm thinking back about this.
yeah. And then where, so bring us up to speed to sort of like today, your business today.
So my business today is combining this love for travel, or I'd say good lifestyle, and finances. I have another company in China where we do mobile app distribution for foreign companies at the Chinese market. And at the last 4 years, I have a partner who manage that company. So I wanted to start something new. I had the time, and why want to start this? I start doing my passion, what I like. I'll help other people live the same way, and I'll coach them. Why not? So this is where it came from. So that's about 4-something years ago started.
Interesting. But now the Chinese app thing, that seems like a departure. How did you get into that?
So at 2007, my brother-in-law decided that his kids needs to learn Chinese, and because it's important. So I joined them. I was between jobs, and I was like, okay, let's go. So I joined for 2 months to learn Chinese. That was 2007. And 2010, I got married, and about a year afterwards, end of 2011, me and my wife decided, let's just move to China and see how it is, see how it is living there. So I didn't plan to start a company there. I was an entrepreneur even before that, but I really didn't, again, plan to open a company there. Still, it just came up this way. I worked before at 2 companies there. She worked in another company, and then I started that app company. It just came because I was one of the, let's say, Beijing foreign entrepreneurs, community leaders. Back then, there weren't too many entrepreneurs back then. There were even more older than me, more experienced than me, but I kind of led a group there. And a friend from Israel came, and I asked him to speak on that group at that meetup. I managed a meetup. It still exists. And he says, how about, you're trying a business, and it was a totally different thing. And he said, you need something simple with a page and an offering and a big button at the bottom saying, whatever, buy this. And then he says, you got all this complexion in China with the app industry. So the story of China is that instead of Google Play, which is blocked, you have 400 other stores. So the company help. It's a one-stop shop for managing your app in the Chinese market. We used to do only the distribution in the stores, and we work with the top 20. However, now it's all about monetization and licensing and promotion, and there are lots of other things. Regulations change and stuff like that. But back then, it's a pretty simple offering. We'll get your app on 5, 10, or I think it was 15 or 20 top stores in China. That was the offering. Simple. That's what it was.
It was good.
And that started in 2013.
So that came out of a need that you had, right? Or was it
it's
just
not a need no, it's not a need that I had. It's a need that people who want to enter the Chinese market had.
Okay.
Yes, and that friend recognized it and proposed trying that. And then we had copycats and people doing the same offering with a different pricing. They're gone. We're still there. We still exist.
That's very cool. Yes. Right place, right time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not involved, so I can't say anything about the day-to-day and how it is right now, and like the recent changes in Chinese app market. I wouldn't know. You have to invite the CEO. He would know more. But still, it's cool to think that you build something, you worked on it for a few years, it still exists, it runs, it grows, and there's still a need. There's definitely still a need.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Interesting being part of, well, I mean, that's the entrepreneurial dream, right? You'd start something interesting because you saw a need or somebody saw a need, or, and then it just takes on a life of its own.
Yes. Yes. Just like that. You're right.
So I just want to say that if you're listening to this, which you probably are since it's a podcast, if you get the opportunity, watch it on YouTube, and the link is always in the show notes, because Shlomo is going to share some cool things with us. Speaking of, interesting, exciting new ideas that he's had that have to do with either a need that he saw or a need that he had.
I
And
forgot the
so,
glow in the dark effect.
and
So yeah.
you don't want to miss the glow in the dark effect, because he's in Israel and it's nighttime there. And so he's got his black shirt on, and his like his hands and face are like, ooh, kind of like otherworldly, floating around. It's kind of fun.
That was not intended, but after going on the video and trying it, like, oh, okay, fine. And Chris liked it, so why not?
So we kept it.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so now tell us about sort of your daily life today as a financial coach. I mean, I think we already understand that you just said, oh, this will be fun, I want to do this, right? That was kind of how you got into it. Did I interpret that
Right.
correctly? You're today.
Basically, well, I had to think of a program of what exactly I'm offering. So first of all, my day-to-day is basically half a day, because we're homeschooling our daughters, and my wife is also working remotely. So she works half a day, I work half a day. So I'm fortunate enough to do that, and I love doing it. It's not always fun with kids, but that's okay. Still, we're happy we're homeschooling. And then at my work time, it's either working with clients, doing the program with them. That's one thing, or managing our personal investments. So one of the recent things that I'm doing in the past about a year and a half is doing a content website investing. So I bought 2 of them, and I'm about to buy a 3rd one. So that's also part of the operation of running that thing. So it's basically the blend of these 2 things.
So it's interesting, because that's something else that probably would be a whole other podcast that we could talk about, is unusual investments, things that people don't necessarily think of, right? What do people think of? Stocks?
I have a whole
bonds,
talk
real
about
estate.
the unusual investments. I
Yeah.
do public speaking. That's one of those 4 investments you've never heard of. That's
Yeah.
one of them.
And I mean, that's not something quick that you can cover here, right? We have to have a whole nother show about that. Am I right?
I guess so. I can say in a nutshell that there are marketplaces where you can get websites that already make money, and just like you are improving real estate and flip it and sell it, you can do this to websites. And so not only that they're giving nice cash flow, it's also that there is the upside of once you prove it and flip it. So that's really in one sentence on what that thing is.
And so and I'm assuming that everybody's going to want to understand that in more detail. So maybe we can reserve the right now to have you come back for another show.
Let's do that. Sure.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. So people call you and they're like, first of all, how do people find you? How do they know they need you?
So I work mainly with people who work remotely.
Mm-hmm.
So basically with most clients either find me through other podcasts about expats, about digital nomads, lifestyle. I even have a client from the homeschooling community. They're from Israel, and they found me through there. So that's like something not related, but yep, that also from there. So yeah, this is mainly how people find me. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what kind of condition are they in when they find you?
So you can say that everybody needs financial help because there are different stages and you can always be pushed to be better. I think that my sweet spot is with people who are probably between 30 and 45, either entrepreneurs at my stage where there's already a running company and there is money there, and now, okay, how do I optimize this best fitting my goal? And I'll explain more, but the program to really explain what this sentence means in a minute. Or people who are maybe mid-management. So again, they're not just starting and there's like, oh, we need, we have more money. Like, what do we do now? Or I had people just before a big decision. I had a couple wanted to buy a house and they had to decide. And it was so the way that I do the program, I can show them
You're coming in and out.
Really?
Yeah.
I see that I'm everything okay my side.
Shoot, I don't know how it could be that I wouldn't be getting a few of the words. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Go back. Yeah, just the last couple sentences that you said.
So I had a couple coming and they wanted to, they had a big decision if they should buy a house or not. And with my program, I can show very clearly to people, if you're choosing A, B, and C, you won't get to D, H, and M. And showing them, you buy the house, you're choosing not to do all your other dreams. So the way that my program works is, the first thing that I do is I help people design their future lifestyle. What's the goal? Where are you going? And be as detailed as possible. And then what I do is that I break that back to what they need to do today to reach all those goals. And sometimes it matches and sometimes it doesn't. But the whole point is making the perfect match for you, for your life, for what will be good for you. And it's not about being rich and having piles of money just falling on you from the sky. It's about being content with where you're going and what you have and how you can make that match. That's what it's all about.
Do you find that, is that a big part of your coaching, the coaching part? Because when I talk to a lot of people, they're like, oh, I need to have $10 million in the bank. And you're like, why?
You probably don't.
Yeah. And where did that come from even? It seems
exactly.
Like it's a nice round number, lots of zeros, like, okay, but what are you going to do with all that money? Do you really need that much? And it seems like it postpones their potential future enjoyment because they feel like they have to just keep accumulating.
Exactly. It's something that you see a lot. So there is this thinking of what I need. There's actually two interesting opposites. So it's either way too much, it's like, why do you need that much? And there's people who have no idea where they're going. So there's no future there. We just roll forward with our lives, basically.
And just hope to, my goal is, my retirement plan is to die young.
Exactly. My retirement is to stay alive.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. It's just,
so you need to get them to some kind of a frame and then understand how they can move inside that frame. That's how it works.
How do you go about that? Because I mean, it feels like sometimes is it easy for you, or do you feel like sometimes you're just pulling like little strings from all over the place to try to get them to focus and understand what they want their life to look like?
Sometimes it's harder when they have no idea where they're going. Okay, it's when somebody has this $10 million dream and then you keep asking why, and then when he says something, you still ask why, and you still ask why, and then you get to the actual number that he really needs. It's like, okay, I guess I'm good. That's I think is easier. Maybe, people need to understand when is the time that it's maybe now it's enough, but really, maybe you have enough and you don't need to keep working, or you don't need to keep working at the same pace, or you don't need to have this job that maybe you don't like or whatever.
Yeah.
But you need to understand what the ramification of holding what you have right now towards your future, and if you really need that or not.
Yeah. Retirement's a funny thing. I think, especially for entrepreneurs, don't you find that they just like, oh, I never want to stop working. I always want to, I love my business. I'm just going to keep putting all my money into my business, and I never want to stop working. I hear people say that a lot.
So, Chris, it's not, so the distinction, it's not about work or not work. It's about being choose, being able to choose if you work or not.
Exactly.
It's interesting for me. It's interesting for me to work on my projects, to invest in website, to be with the family, but also to work and run my business. I know that I'm doing something good in the world. So I want to keep doing that. And I don't have a TV at home, and I probably don't want to have, not going to have a TV at home. I don't see myself sitting in front of the couch, on the couch the whole day,
Right. Exactly.
watching TV. So that's who I am. And I guess that's the spirit of entrepreneurship is.
Yeah, I think because I do think that people have that idea that like, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to stop working at a certain point, and then what? I'm going to just take up daytime soap operas. I mean, what am I going to do with myself, right? I have to learn to play golf every day of my life. You know, people just don't have this idea, like you're saying. Well, I want to work half a day and spend the rest of the time with my family and just homeschooling my daughter. That's retirement to me because I don't need this paycheck, right? I have this whatever, this passive income stream or this flow or this savings or whatnot, because and so it pays my expenses and I can work as little or as much as I want, right?
Right. We play a lot with this flexibility. So when not in COVID times, we it's a pain to say we used to, but hopefully again, so a few months a year, we would travel and work from somewhere around the world and use Israel as a base and then do it again. So we were in Sri Lanka for 3.5 months, in Portugal for 2 months, in Thailand and Italy, and all these places were wonderful, and hopefully soon again.
Yes.
But the whole, I'm just saying this as an example for flexible life and what you can do to move them around so it will fit what you want for yourself now, and also how it will fit for the future, for your future.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, I feel like very lucky right now in this moment to be in the US because it is such a big country that we're actually planning a West Coast trip, which requires, you know, like it's 3,000 miles away, you know, but we're still going to be within this country so we can do it without lots of drama, you know, although I know
Right.
people are traveling again, but just
it's all changing. It's really, you really don't know when you buy a ticket if that country will be green or not. It's just whatever.
Yeah, I know. So can you, what I'd like to do for this last kind of portion of the show is for you to give us like at least 3 sort of action items or things, goals, to-do list things that people who are listening can do before they come to you for their coaching to get themselves ready and just to kind of put their financial life in the right place, or anything you think that you could give us some guidance on that has to do with that planning portion.
So I think I'll tie it to the program that I do with my clients. And I think there is one thing at every stage there. So the first one is design your future lifestyle. And we spoke about this a lot. It's really thinking of what you want for yourself long-term. And sitting and writing this down. I do this with clients, is sitting down and, you know, write, and then we go through this. So just be very, very detailed about this. And it's especially important if you really don't know, like you ask me what's harder for me, the people that don't know what they want, exactly this. So that's one thing. Then the second stage is upgrade your financial knowledge. And so the financial industry makes things look very, very complicated, but there are a few basics so with 20% of the information or knowledge, you can do 80% of what you need. So get that. Understand what is net worth goal, cash flow, compound interest, the most important thing, I think. Just what it does for your finances, all these things, just understand those. So this is another thing that you can do. Then the third part in our program is control your finances, control your numbers. So it's understanding, again, what is your cash after you upgraded the knowledge. And I'm going with the client to this. So we understand what's the net worth, what's the cash flow, where you can optimize, what you can do. And at the end of all that thing, take everything and put this on a plan. This goal has this investment. And for this, I need to have get an investment with at least 5% yearly. and I need to put $1,000 for this, for that. Let's call it a bucket, okay? A bucket for have a around the world trip in 5 years, as example.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do it now. You don't need to wait for that. You can put this in your plan of life and get to this. So these are very, I can't say easy, but things that are that you can do, that possible for you to do. I have a talk that I give that it's titled "How to Know What to Invest In," because people always ask me this, and I realized that the answer for this question is basically within people, because it's individual. You have to get through all that path that I just mentioned to understand for yourself what is right for you. There is no general answer on this saying invest in Google or
Right,
all
right.
that. That's wrong. That's really wrong, because it doesn't fit everybody.
Right.
So yeah, I hope that's enough action items.
No, that's really good. So, Shlomo, do you want to share with us your calculator? Because I think that's something that
Yes,
people would
yes,
find
yes.
really helpful.
So I mentioned that calculating your net worth. So I do this every month. Actually, I wanted to mention this. Every month I check how much what is my net worth, and this is how I can see what's working, what's not working, what's the trend. So that's really helpful to really be on top of things. So I created a calculator, and you can download it at freefinancialself.com / oh, I forgot the initials of the podcast, because this is the one I have. We have it. Oh no, that's GYFF, right?
Yep.
Okay, so freefinancialself.com / GYFF. Sorry.
Well, it's GYF. So GYF is get your fill, but then is it GYF like P for podcast?
No, it's double F.
Double
because
F.
it was
Okay.
FI. Yes, because it's for financial independence.
Oh, okay.
So GYF, GY double F.
GY double. Okay, so that's
Yes.
cool. We have our own link.
You have our
Listeners
own
to
link.
the podcast
Yes.
we have our own link. That is awesome. Okay, and I'm going to put a link to that obviously in the show notes as well. So if you're driving, don't try to write that down.
Awesome.
We're going to have it in the show notes for you. And then you were also talking about travel planning.
Yes.
Worksheets, and I would love to see those.
So before we started this recording, I told Chris that I'm very excited about a new project. It's kind of an old new project that I'm relaunching in a better way. And this one is combining my passion of finance and my passion of travel. And I'm going to show you my Gumroad page. So you got the URL here. It's shlomofreund.gumroad.com. And the ones I want you to focus are these, the flags. So I'm going to show one of them. These are vacation saving trackers that are for a certain country, and I'm going to create a lot more of those. I don't know where the majority of the listeners are from, but if you're going to the UK, you can see this vacation tracker. And basically what you do, you put the goal of how much you need to save for that. And then every time you reach that goal, you just color one stripe of the flag. Let me see if I have more example here. So yeah, you can see here the bigger example. And I have more of those. And I'd love if people would just tell me, create this flag for me, and I'll do that. Okay, I love doing those. Let's see if I have more examples here.
So if you're not able to see this, like if you're just driving or you're you're just listening, what we're looking at is you basically have the graph is a map. And as you reach your goal, so you say, okay, I have to save $1,000 to go on this vacation. And each time you get $100, you color in a little bit more of the map. And by the time the map is completely colored in, you've got all the money you need to go on your trip. So it's a fun way to get the kids involved, to get everybody kind of on board and excited.
That's for the kids. Well, it's more the money for the. So I imagine that this is on your fridge, and you're just talking about your trip coming up and all that. And for kids, I'm about to create one which is I'm dividing the flag into 30 stripes. So there will be 30 days countdown before the trip. So the parents can do the money. The kids can do the kids can also do the money, but then they can also do the countdown.
Cool.
So that is coming up. So yeah, that's the project.
Awesome. So if you're getting ready to go on vacation and you want to have a savings tracker, you just send Shlomo that you tell Shlomo which map you want to have. I want to go to this country,
Yeah,
and
I
then
can
he
do
makes the
maps
map.
now, not only flags.
I mean the flap. Sorry, yeah, sorry, not the map, the flag. Yeah, you don't want to do the whole map of the country.
I can do that. Maybe that will be a second version. You get map of Japan and the flag of Japan and all that. Oh, well, I can go on with that. I really like this combining finance and travel. Sorry, I'm
Yes,
all over the place.
it's fun. It's a fun idea. I mean, I really like I think so. We all say, oh, we got to track our goals or whatever. And it's sort of abstract, right? You just say, oh, and in 6 months, I'll see if I'm 30 pounds lighter, but
Yeah,
this is,
but you
this is
don't
a,
track it.
yeah. Yeah. This way you have to like, okay, can we color it? It gets to be exciting, like, oh, just, don't go out for an ice cream sundae. Just put that, put that $30 that we were going to spend on ice cream and put it into the map. I mean, into the flag so we can get to the next color,
And
let's go.
yes, and then coloring. Exactly. That's the conversation that should happen.
Yeah. You say to the kids, would you rather go out, to McDonald's, or would you rather add another line to the chart? Oh my God, we got it. I don't know. I'm just imagining it could be a
Yes.
way, right? For kids to get excited about it. People, even and adults too, to get excited about it, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So Shlomo, what else? I mean, I know there's a million things we could talk about, but just from the context of what we've kind of touched on here, is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or anything that you particularly want to share with everyone?
I think that the most important thing is not postponing this, because once you understand what compound interest do for your finances, so it's never urgent dealing with your money. It's never, some people, it's really not that interesting and they really don't want to know anything about it. Just go open your bank account and start dealing with it today, not tomorrow, just now after you finish listening to the podcast.
Right away.
Right away. It's like, it will help you so much towards 20 years from now, just that little thing. And then calculate your net worth every month. That's really important. You'll know where you're heading, and you'll know that you're making progress.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do now, we're going to write our goal. We're going to come up with our future retirement kind of goal, right? And then we're going to educate ourselves, and we are going to get some education on the higher points of finance, right? So that we can understand the lingo and
the simple, not complicated. Don't be afraid.
We don't need to be buying shorts and puts and doing all kinds of, complex things, but we need to understand some basics, like what is my net worth and how can I figure out, just the rough idea of things. And then we need a plan. We need to design a plan. And for that, they may need your help. So how can people reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you?
So they can do through my website, freefinancialself.com. And I'm also on all social media channels. So that would be my name on Facebook, or Free Financial Self on Facebook, on Instagram, Free Financial Self. On Twitter, it's Free Financial SF. Unfortunately, it's too long. Free Financial Self is too long. But SF is my initials, so that goes well. Yes. And yeah, there's also information about that. So I have a membership, financial coaching membership group. It's kind of a starting membership. It's not expensive, but it's something, again, that helps you keep going and really, design your life moving forward. And the goal of the group, and I just started that about 2 or 3 months ago, is to increase your net worth at least 1% every month. Wow. That's the goal of the group. Yes. So with that, you get 12 point something percent, because it's compounded for a year, which I think is quite nice. So
in like 5 years, you double your net worth, right? Did I do the math
72 divided by 12. Yes.
Wow. Great. That's fun. Okay. And sorry.
6 years.
6 years. Yeah. Okay. And then what they need to do right away is go to the show notes and download the net worth calculator.
Yes. Download that net worth calculator. Get in touch. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And don't forget to have some fun in life and get yourself a flag and track your next vacation.
That's great advice. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I really had a great time with you.
Had a wonderful time. Thank you.
And thank you, listener, for listening. I know you have a choice of many millions of podcasts. And in fact, I'm going to be launching a new podcast very soon. So that's just going to add one more to the millions of podcasts. And I'm really grateful that you're here and listening. And I know you've got some value from this. So please, while you're thinking about it, share this episode with a friend, share it with 2 friends. And the last episode, I don't know when this will air, but anyway, I have a list going of all the countries that we're in. And I want you to find a person in a country that we don't already have and add it to them, because you know our goal, 50 countries before the end of the year, and it's all up to you. So Thanks so much. Have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Shlomo.
Bye-bye. Thank you.